What's going on, world? You are now listening to Living Body Talks. So, if you've ever followed this podcast before, it used to be called Common Insight. Well, it's still that. If you ever followed any of my little videos or moments on Instagram, it was called Moody Moments. It's still that. However, a few years ago, if you're not already familiar with who I am a minister. I got my license in 2014. I've actually got ordained in 2018. And sometime in this past year and a half, I actually was kind of enlightened with this name, Living Body Church. So much so that I even took the effort to buy my business name, I guess, with the state. So it's now its own business, legitimate in the business system. So I haven't really, kind of went through it as far as like making it a church. God hasn't given me that, and I'm not here to force it. But what I will do is continue to go with that ministry. So here we are, Living Body Talks. Now, earlier today, I gave a quick little video talking about friends, and now I want to get deep into it. Let's be honest, all of us have friends. That's common knowledge. I'm not breaking any grounds by revealing that. And we all have different types of friends. We have those friends that you can wild out with. You have those friends that you can be good. You pretty much have friends for the best of you and the worst of you. Now, the biggest thing is the friends that either push you or enable you. I say that because a lot of us are really familiar with having friends that don't worry about where you are. Now, I'm not saying they don't care about you. They do. They love you to death. They could even be there for you or whatever. But as far as you having to push yourself or as far as you having to better yourself, they could care less. That's not the important thing here. So those might not be the friends you need. Now, if you're a kid, of course, we all have those friends. Some of us might even be those friends. But once you actually start being an adult, you're starting to pass your 20s. And it's more serious the further along in life you are. You really need to contemplate why certain friends are in your life. And I'm not trying to say that to, be the bearer of bad news for everything, but really contemplate why certain friends are in your life. Because if these friends aren't having any kind of implication of driving you to be better or to drive you to move forward, push yourself, break out, do what you're destined to do, be better than what you are, deep down, these might not be your friends. And I'm not trying to, I don't know how to say it any realer than that. But I just notice, as I come along in life, man, there's things that I want to do. And there's things that I really want to pursue. There's talents that I feel like God's given me to really push and branch out and be so much. And then I notice when I'm around certain friends or around certain people that at the end of the day, none of us are talking about each other's goals. None of us are talking about each other's drives. We're just there to live in the moment. Cool. Sometimes it's good to have that realization. But for a long term, I have to think, what are these friends for? Now, thankfully, the older I've gotten, I've realized that the friends that I do have around me are really looking out for me. And you'll notice when you're trying to drive yourself and try to like really push yourself, you gravitate automatically away from those who are just keeping you in that loop, and more to those who have that same common goal. And I know everybody's familiar with the phrase iron sharpens iron, but I personally didn't even know that was scripture. You know, in Proverbs 27 chapter verse 17, it says, iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friends. That's deep. That means so much, especially coming from the Bible, that we supposed to be building and making ourselves and each other better. Because when you look at iron sharpening iron, iron doesn't sharpen one another by putting a pillow and wiping each other off and just making it feel good. Iron has to cut. It has to cut away at the things that's dull for it to get back to its sole purpose. It has to chip away all these things that doesn't make that blade effective, so it can be right, so it can be sharp. And that's what we're supposed to be for each other. And I just say that, man, because I know, like I said, from my personal experience, and I know that there's people going through it. We grow up with these friends. We love them to death. They've been with us, so we're used to them. We're attached. We're latched on to these friends. But at the end of the day, if you don't have that focus to do what you're supposed to do more than anything else, and you have those friends that don't care, eventually you won't care. And you'll be stuck in that same loop. And the best conversations you'll have is talking about what used to be or what could have been. And we think that, you know, we have this notion now just talking about, oh man, it's human for people to be sympathetic and empathize and want people to be comfortable. But that doesn't mean that that's the right thing. And I want to really talk about this other scripture in the New Testament where it's between Peter and the disciples and Jesus out in the water. And it's in Matthew, the 14th chapter. You can read it all. It's from verses 25 through 33. They see him in the water. And Peter's the first one to say that, if this is you, let me come to you. And Jesus says, come. And guess what? Peter walks on the water. But when he sees the winds and he sees the waves, he gets scared. And because of his fear, he starts to sink. Now, for us, for the friends that are the enablers, the friends that are sympathizing, the friends that are keeping us in the loop, it would be easy to say, Peter, you were never meant to walk on water. You know, you did good by just getting out the boat. You took a couple of steps, so that's fine. You know, Peter, you did good what you did. Don't feel bad because you sunk. Maybe we'll try it again another day. And that literally sounds like what anybody would say to each other. But what does Jesus say in response to Peter sinking? Out of logic and whatever human reasoning would say that he sunk because, he's walking on water. Jesus just goes down. He gets him. He does get him. He makes sure that he doesn't drown. He pulls him up. But first thing Jesus says to Peter is, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? That's so powerful. That our Creator and his Son looked past what we accept that we cannot do, and did and failed because of natural fear, because of natural worry and concern, and said, You have little faith. Why did you even doubt in the first place? So if Jesus can tell somebody to stop thinking of being comfortable where you're at, because you should have had the faith to keep moving and look past that storm, why are we so content with having these friends that tell us it's okay to sit out the storm? It's okay that we can't get through it. It's okay that you're right here and not up there. That's just life sometimes, right? That's what we say to each other. And for me, it can't be acceptable. Not anymore. And for you, I pray it won't be. Because for those who are striving for this lifestyle of Christ, remember that multiple times throughout this Bible, Jesus says that we'll be able to do the impossible. Nothing will be impossible if you have faith and you see that you can't doubt with that faith. And the reason that Jesus gave us each other is to help build us up, to keep us focused, to keep us moving forward. That's why he says that we're a body. And if you look at your actual body, your fingers are connected by your hand. Your hand is connected to your arm. Both your arms are connected by your body, your chest, this whole midsection of yours, your head, your legs all connect through this body. And all of it flows. All of it has veins that are fluid with blood because of a heart in the inside that's pumping through us. All these things are connected. And this is how we all have to be connected to one another. Because if one of them slacked, that part's going to die off. I know right now I feel like I'm rambling away from my subject, but it still makes sense to me. That if one part was to say that it just stopped wanting to have that blood flow, it didn't want to get better, eventually it's going to die off. And just think, what if the other parts of the hand was like, it's okay. That hand might still be there, but you're going to die off because you're no longer being active. You're no longer moving. I don't know if that makes sense. I just really got passionate about it, man. I just know that what God gave us talents, when he gave us gifts, his purpose by doing that was for a great purpose for you. And we lose it by just being drawn in and latched on to people who won't help you push towards that purpose. So today, go for your purpose. There's something that you need to do. There's a you that is better. There is a you that is stronger. There is a you inside of you that is greater. But you won't get to it if you won't move forward. And it's going to hinder you if all that's in your ear is not motivation to move forward. That's all I wanted to talk about, guys. So, once again, this is now the Ministry of Living Body Talks. Here, I plan to just show that connection, that common insight of just God, his existence, his purpose given to us and explained to us already in this word, this Bible, through our everyday life, through our living, that all of us can just learn to bear our cross and follow him. God bless. One last thing, shout out to my boy Random Beats for this music, man. Excellent guy. excellent beats. Be easy.